Okay.
We live.
Yeah, we're live. What's going on? Give it just a second as usual. People get in here. Where's Brian at? Where the hell is Brian? Everybody sure. Of course, we need Brian.
Where you at, Brian?
Keeps the comment section.
Right guy.
I can't decide if there's enough benefit in us streaming on 3 platforms at the same time to continue paying $25 a month for that, or if we can just do one at a time.
Yeah, I don't know. My wife got me this for Valentine's, so I'm gonna wear it.
Ooh, I like it.
What you
Yeah,
got?
yeah.
Still on the
It's a riding jacket with a hooded built in, and then like I can take the it's quilted, so I can take the quilting out when it's like not as cold.
Yeah, that's slick.
Yeah, well, it's a lot lighter than my other riding jacket. I have a riding jacket that's like almost 7 pounds, so it's a pain.
Wait,
to
riding jacket? You ride?
Well, I don't currently, but I have riding jackets because I used to, and I'd like to again.
I want to too.
Check out there's a Wire for Wire sports podcast, by the way. We have competition.
Wire for Wire?
They're only on 120 episodes, though, so they got some catching up to.
I mean, bro, we're on like episode 900.
Yeah. We've been doing it much longer.
A little bit.
What's up, viewer?
What's going on, viewer?
What's happening?
Should we just go ahead and say what's up, Brian?
Dude,
we know
B?
it's Brian.
What's up?
What's up, man?
What's up?
All right, got the post out. All right, it's official. It is Wednesday, January the 25th, and pretty soon we're going to talk about all kinds of things in sports. So the world of sports is just crazy, but it's the NFL playoffs, baby, and that's what we're here to talk about.
Playoffs.
Nothing else. Playoffs. I just want to talk about them. I just want to win a game. Oh yeah, we got Sahe in the house. We're
He-Man in the building.
25th. Listen, it's NFL playoffs. You'll get your other sports in a couple of weeks. Just calm down, all right? The Wire Sports Podcast. It's starting right now. Pretty soon. It's starting pretty soon. Just be.
I'm going in, it's 1st and 10. I'm a legend boy, a champion. They can't match the flows, the X's and O's. I'm breaking the codes, devastation about to unfold. They calling me Derek by the way I roll. Bet you never ever seen a pro this cold. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I mix with I am Mike and the great Ali. I'ma run it back, believe me, baby. I fathered the game, call me Daddy Brady. I'm like that, try be like this. Sammy is so that boy don't miss. It's the return of the greatest. Any way you name it, I'm everybody's favorite. I'm bringing the pain and bringing the fire. Hey, stay tuned, it's going down to the wire.
Stay tuned, it's going down to the wire.
He-Man dipped on us. What happened?
He dipped. He's like, man, they're gonna play my song again. That's Sahe in the intro credits. If you people don't know this, go check out Sahe. I mean, his music is incredible. I'm sure he'll be right back. Fellas, we got another beautiful week of football to talk about. We can be a little bit more relaxed. We got 4 games to cover, but man, are they games to talk about. No passing, no one-shots. We are playing everything today. How are you guys doing?
Beautiful,
Great.
beautiful. I'm good. Finally back to get on some sort of routine. Boom.
Yeah, wearing
And
the
I'm back.
Falcons.
Oh
Repping
yeah,
it.
I just want to represent. I know we prime time all day.
Hey, prime all day, man. I'm
can't
repping
even-
the jacket, like I said. Wife got this for me for Valentine's, early present, so gotta wear it. I'm not wearing my Bengals jersey because I'm waiting until after they win this Sunday, and then I'll wear it. I'll wear it for the
And
next.
it's the white. You gonna bust out the white jersey again? All
Joe
white?
Burrow, yeah, of course.
Oh yeah,
You gotta go Joe Burrow.
Joe Nasty.
Yeah.
yeah. Whew. Well, we will dive right into that. Richie and Richie's wife.
My wife wants me to cut this right now. She's embarrassed for me.
Oh, we've got a Chiefs hater in the comments already. Who is this lady? I've never heard
They're
of her.
not gonna win.
I've never heard of Jordan Cox. Does anybody know? Oh my God.
Wow.
I can't put that one on the screen. Go into the comments to see the other one. I'm not gonna put that.
Yeah. Please do not.
Somebody woke up and chose violence this morning, clearly.
Jordan is ready to go. I can't wait for that conversation, Jordan. Here's what I will say regardless before we get into the game. They're both back. It's the AFC rematch. Pretty cool.
It is. It is the rematch, and it would have been either way. That was what's cool about this season is, oh my God, babe, my beautiful fiance in the comment section. I'm not. If you have the red and gold hearts on a comment, it doesn't make it on the screen. I'm sorry. That's just. I can't go that far. But yeah,
don't let it happen.
This crazy playoff season. Sahe, we haven't heard from you yet, man. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I had some stuff going on. I was recording my dog AK in the studio. You're putting a little song down.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Hey.
What's up, guys? What's up?
Maybe
Free Mess Brother right here. Free Mess Brother AK right here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, check them out on Free Mess on Fridays and on H2G Radio.com. You can catch everything. Shameless plug.
And as soon as I got on, my phone died. I'm like, oh, I got to put it on the charger.
We thought you just heard your song and were like, man, these guys keep playing my music on the air. Jordan's leaving. We wouldn't put her hearts on. She's out of here. Sorry, we can't support all that. All right, enough messing around. Let's get to it, guys. Everything started on Sunday, and it was with the 49ers and the Cowboys, and I can't tell you how many conversations I've had that shocked me with people talking about the Cowboys finally getting their year. And I also can't tell you how many TVs that I've seen broken on the internet from people being stupid. I mean, the Cowboys are never going to win a Super Bowl. Just don't have a TV if you got to break it when they lose. 49ers got this one 19-12. This is play only, baby. Who wants it first?
Who on it? I mean, I'll take it because I picked the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl, I think, last week.
Yeah.
I picked the Cowboys, and then I bought into the hype. You said what?
Did you punch your TV?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, you kind of expect it with the Cowboys. Stephen A. always say, right? They're an accident waiting to happen, and Dak Prescott threw that first pick in the first quarter, and I'm like, all right, here they go. The defense started off strong. They were getting the 49ers off the field. I felt like if the Cowboys could have scored first and went up, maybe a couple scores on the 49ers, they would have put the pressure on them. But Dak threw that interception, and they just never really got on rhythm. So I really feel like the 49ers, it's not their defense is amazing, right? They've got the best defense in the league. So it's understandable Dak goes out there and throws picks. They're going to confuse them. What are you drinking, man? You got olives in there?
It's a dirty martini.
Okay.
It's been a long day. Wednesday hump day martini.
Yeah. I feel like if Odell was ready to come back and play this season with all the hype for him coming back and the Cowboys, I feel like he would have made a difference in them winning this game. Because it's a 7-point game. It's not like they got blew out. Dallas had a tremendous defensive game plan, and defensively they did enough to win. It's just you got a $40 million man at quarterback, and he can't get it done. There's going to be a lot of turmoil in Dallas, and Jerry Jones canceled a radio show. He didn't go on the appearance this week. They got a lot to figure out. Cowboys Nation is hurting, and Stephen A. is loving it. So that's like the best part. That's one of the best parts of the football season, right? Stephen A. talking his mess all season, and when they finally lose, he just goes off on everybody, and it's just hilarious to watch. But I'm still not convinced with Brock Purdy. He's gonna have to show me against these Eagles. So we're gonna see.
Well, I'll say this. If Sahe's not impressed with Brock Purdy, which is totally fair, he threw for 200 yards, that's a tall task for him to do better against an Eagles defense that's arguably better than Dallas's. And Dallas did a great job. I agree with you. The Dallas defense did, like you said, what they needed. They held this 49ers offense, which has been rolling these last 7 games, to 19 points. I mean, this was definitely a winnable game. I disagree with Sahe on one point, though. Sahe said if they got Odell Beckham Jr., he could have made the difference. And I'm not saying he doesn't necessarily wouldn't, but it's the Cowboys. He's on there, Odell makes a play, but they'll do something else to screw it up. Like, the last play of the game is the Cowboys. That's the best way to describe it. And for those of you who didn't see it, they had I'll just give you the play-by-play. Zeke, the running back, Ezekiel Elliott. They have him as the center. No other lineman. So Zeke is ineligible. However, you can lateral it to him. So I think the plan was that Zeke would hike the ball to Dak. The lineman wouldn't bull rush him. He would run forward. It was like a hook and ladder to Zeke. I think that was the design, and then they try to figure something else out. Who knows? All I know is it was the dumbest play I've ever seen. And this is even worse than last year's play where Dak slid and then they didn't have to, this one is even dumber because at least the Dak one, you're just like, oh man, it's true. They mistimed it by a couple seconds. I don't know what they were thinking like the 49ers weren't just going to blow that play up. And it didn't even help, even though Zeke tried and he got demolished, poor guy. I mean, he got ran over. I don't know if you guys saw the play. He literally got ran over. But even with him getting run over, Dak still had kind of enough to zip it, but then he threw it so high, it was literally a hospital ball. I was shocked how high he threw it. I think he was just that scared when he saw Zeke get trucked that he was just like, oh, nah, and he just chucked it. If he stepped into it, I'm not saying the play works, but I am saying at least the receiver has a chance to make the play. He didn't have an opportunity because he had to jump, 40 inches into the air. So, I mean, he caught it. I'll give the guy some props because he got hit right in the hip while he was catching it. But it was the dumbest, the Cowboys doing Cowboys things. Like, we can talk about the turnovers to Sahi's point, which they happen. But, the bottom line is you can't just blame that 1,000% on Zeke. This is the number 1 defense in the league. That can happen. And the Cowboys defense played great. And Micah did a lot of talking after the game and during the game, but Micah still didn't do that much for him to be talking as much noise about how bad Dak is and his $40 million contract and these other things. So I'm going to say this is still a complete Cowboys loss. You can blame Dak all you want, but at the end of the day, if you look at this defense on paper, this is easily a top 3 defense. If we don't look at the games in and out, they have all the talent in the world, just like the 49ers. They're absolutely capable of making plays, and they didn't get it done either, quite frankly. So you can't just solely blame it on Dak. Yes, he's the biggest reason they lost, but man, this game, I'll tell you what, I'll give it this. I was surprised it was even as close as it was because the Niners overall are a significantly more talented team. That's what shocked me, that this ended up because I think Trey said it was going to be 2 scores. And I didn't have the confidence to say that, but I believed it. And I was even shocked that it was a 7-point game, to be honest. I really thought this was going to be 35 to 21 maybe, 18 more likely. I don't know. But anyways, that's kind of my analysis. I'm not going to get too much into the San Francisco side of things. They did what they had to do. Christian McCaffrey didn't have a great game because Dallas's defense played pretty well. Debo didn't have a great game. Purdy had 200 yards. But, I'm not worried about it as a Niners fan rooting for them because it's just Dallas has a good defense and they showed up for the most part. They just didn't do enough like the Niners to get it done on their defensive side. So if I'm a Cowboy, right now, the only thing I'm worried about is this whole Dak versus Michael Parsons thing that's going on in the media right now. It's making rounds. And, I already got something from Brian saying Zeke, Dak, and McCarthy are gone. And Brian, I don't know if you're a Cowboys fan, but you crazy if you think he's going to fire Mike McCarthy. No. Maybe Zeke's gone. I'll agree give you on that. Dak, I don't think they're going to get rid of him yet. I really don't think they're going to get rid of him. I think they're going to do the Cowboys thing, and they're going to keep him. And I don't think they're getting rid of him. And Mike McCarthy will not get fired. No way, no how. Jerry Jones loves Mike McCarthy. They have a meeting every Wednesday, and they talk about football. That way he can make himself sound good when he goes on the radio shows. So he loves Mike McCarthy. He's not going anywhere.
Pulled some love from the comment section there, Richie. Fantastic. And Brian is actually a Patriots fan.
Well, I know he's a Patriots fan. Because I can tell when his specific details.
Ooh,
but
my gosh, Brian with the hot takes to the Colts.
Dak to the Colts.
They already owe so many quarterbacks so much money. They got Matt Ryan. They got Carson Wentz.
Oh, Andrew's also got a prediction, a Super Bowl prediction.
Oh my gosh, Andrew Cleffer, H2G Zone from True Crime for the Innocent Mind, coming in hot. Joe Burr. Taking the Super Bowl.
He's gonna go into Burrowhead and win. That's what Andrew's claiming.
All right, I like it. All right, Trey, what do you make of this Cowboys-Niners game? You said at least 2 scores.
I don't know. I was wrong on that. I mean, Cowboys defense came to show up. Shouts out to them. I just want to point out that the Cowboys offense was top 5 in scoring. The Cowboys defense was top 5 in scoring. And their turnover differential, I think they were number 1 or number 2 in turnover differential. The key main factor why they lose their games is their quarterback play. That's what it comes down to.
He led the league in interceptions on 12 games, by the way.
I think that's – and even in this game, okay, so he did 23 for 37 for 206. Brock Purdy did – I think Brock Purdy was 19 to 29.
Yeah, for 210.
He was 19 to 29 for – yeah, with 0 turnovers. But Dak threw 2 interceptions. And every interception is not – created equal. So if you throw it in the first quarter, cool. But when you're throwing them in the fourth, I mean, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? It's not like that's not who he is. It's happened over the last, 7 out of the last 8 games or something like that, including the game I'm talking about. I think it's Dak. They got to figure something out with Dak. Cooper Rush, the offense. Yes, Dak is more explosive with the offense when he's in, but Cooper Rush is more efficient with the offense when he's in, and they still win.
Man, you sound like Skip Bayless now.
I'm just saying. I know, I do. I mean, I do. But but in that same token, I'm saying if we're really comparing quarterbacks, Dak Prescott won the 4th round. Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant. Brock Purdy, he had more command of his offense than Dak had of his offense. And
I agree with that statement.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So I guess my thing is, we can dice up all the numbers we want to. Most of the games usually come down to turnovers, and it comes down to Dak can't take care of the ball for whatever reason anymore, and it's killing the Cowboys.
It is. I was going to say, that was just a poorly timed transition, my bad. We got a guest in the studio. AK, do you want to chime in on the game?
Yeah. So it's 100% on Dak. The 2 interceptions and the decision-making, he had – I don't know if you guys saw, they've been replaying it for about 24 hours now. He missed T.Y. Hilton – wide open. That would have been a touchdown, and he threw it to CeeDee Lamb, who was dang near double covered. So you have the interceptions, but it's also the decision making on his part, and that was throughout the season too. That was an interception, but that was 6 points at least. Possibly 7. Who knows with the kicker? He might have missed. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think that was for me. Obviously, the interceptions are huge. You don't want to turn the ball over. But that wasn't really the deciding factor, I don't think. It was those decision-making and, missing wide receivers, man, wide open. In the playoffs, you cannot do that. You are a seventh-year starter playing a third-string rookie in the playoffs. Like, he had 2 interceptions, but they, what was it, 19-12? Or what was the score?
19-12.
Like, they were still in the game. They could have won the game. Even with those 2 interceptions.
It was 9-9. It was 9-9 going into the fourth.
Yeah. And
it's tie game.
Right. With the 2 interceptions. So, they win that game. If, decision making is better on his part, it's 100% on Dak, I think.
Man, y'all crazy. I gotta jump in. No. We ain't going there. Dallas.
He's a seventh-year starter.
Dallas was 3rd in sacks. They had 1 sack the whole game. Hold on. Dallas was 2nd in turnovers. They had 0. You can talk about they held San Francisco and it should have been enough to win. But that's my point. If we're gonna hold Dak to that standard that he's been playing, sorry, 2 sacks. I apologize.
But it is on the quarterback.
No.
Football game.
Again, 100% is not accurate. You can say you want to say 70, fine. But let me go back to this again. I'm going to say it one more time. All right. You even said it. He threw 2 picks and they were still in the game.
Right.
But Dallas could not make 1 play on defense when they're the 2nd best defense in the league. They did not make 1 play on defense. They had 2 sacks when they're the 3rd best team in sacks besides Pittsburgh, I believe. And they're the 2nd in the only 49ers who were number 1 and Dallas number 2. 49ers defense did their job. Dallas didn't do their job. Now, I'm not saying it's 50-50. I'm not saying it's 50-50, but 100% is crazy, man.
We wouldn't be having this conversation.
100% is a bit much. But let's not. But it's a bit much. But let's not start talking about the Dallas defense like they played like trash. They held Christian McCaffrey. Hold on, they held Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell to, I think they had under 100 yards. They got 2 sacks. They held Kittle went off for 95, but that was the highest receiver. Like, it's not like they didn't do their job. It came down to Dak throwing interceptions, and it comes down to coaching. I don't know. I think it's because they paid Dak Prescott the amount of money that they pay him, but they keep putting the ball in Dak's hands when it's clear that they need to focus on the run game. So it's not all up to Dak Prescott. It's up to it's Mike McCarthy too. And I said it last week. Are we really going to choose a Mark McCarthy offense over
Kyle
the
Shanahan?
49ers?
Absolutely
over
not.
Kyle Shanahan?
Of course not.
So it's not all on Dak. It's a lot on Dak. And it also comes down to Kyle Shanahan because for whatever reason, they got it coming from the top that Dak Prescott needs to be the guy to take him over the hump when it's clearly they need to be running the ball and using play action and using Dak's legs.
That's what I'm trying to say, though. When you know Dak is going to throw picks, how you going to be like, oh, it's his fault, bro? You know that's going to happen. They have a great rushing tandem.
If Dak Prescott threw the ball to T.Y. Hilton, who was wide open, that would have gave them 6 points, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
But that's what we're saying. You should have took the ball out of his hands.
That's what I'm saying.
They can't do that
because
Pollard was out.
And you can't blame it on him.
They can't consistently run the ball realistically because they paid Dak Prescott all that money. So they got to put it in Dak's hands. He wanted the money.
They have been running the ball, though. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, then he broke his leg.
Yeah, well, they gave him all that money. Now he's got to put it in his hands, and he can't deliver.
Hey, and I'm not saying Cooper Rush is better than Dak, but which offense looks better or more efficient, Cooper Rush or Dak Prescott? Honestly, the defense plays better with Cooper Rush on the field. I don't know what it is. Maybe they feel like they have to carry him a little bit more, but the defense plays better. The receivers are more sure-handed. The running backs run better, and the offensive line blocks better with Cooper Rush in the backfield. When they get Dak behind there, they do not trust Dak's decision-making. It's evident.
He didn't even have to play good that game. He just had to play. He could have played poorly and still they would have won. Like,
you need to make one pass.
He was horrible.
But y'all are killing me. Last week, he had one good game, and you acting like he should be able to do that all the time. He hasn't done that all season. He's been shit to Trey's point. So how you going to expect somebody who's been garbage the whole time to be good all of a sudden?
Right. I was saying that last week. Absolutely. That's why I thought that the 49ers were going to blow him out of the water. And we act like he wasn't shit for the last 6-7 games. He played a horrible team. No offense, Sahe, but our division was trash. He played a horrible team. Yeah. And he did exactly what he was supposed to do. And we are acting like he's the best thing since sliced bread. No, he's Dak Prescott, who had 3 pick sixes in the last 4 games.
That horrible team was a division champ. So just so we know the conversation
of the worst
is clear.
Division in football.
Yeah, still division champs. Champs,
hey,
baby.
I'm repping that division right now. Look, hey. Browns. But we were hot garbage this year.
Yeah, straight trash. But y'all should have knew that Dak Prescott had an easy game against us. Buccaneers lost to P.J. Walker, and he's not even on anybody's roster right now. He's not starting anywhere, so whatever.
Brutal.
I think if anybody expected Dak to have the performance he did against Tampa, is just ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we're arguing the same argument almost here.
We are.
That's what sports radio is all about.
Yeah.
We are. It's always everyone has similar opinions, but there's a difference, and that's what you have to argue. That's the whole point.
All right.
I understand that.
Brian's rolling in. It came down to defensive coaching adjustments, and the Niners' defense executed better.
So Kellen Moore.
I don't agree with that. I think the defense is stacked up pretty evenly against the opposing offenses. They kept them both down. I think it honestly just came down to execution and not turning the ball over.
I'm gonna just go with coaching overall. Dak should have never been in the game.
Yeah.
Is this, Richie, when you talk about and we'll get to these guys, when you talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, frequently you bring up they play to their competition. Is that what we're seeing from San Francisco here?
No,
I don't think so.
Not at all.
I don't think so.
This is a playoff game, playoff atmosphere, and I respect Dallas' defense, which is why I'm arguing that I know they are absolutely capable of making even more plays than they did. They played great, but they could have played better, and that's my whole argument.
Yeah.
Because we know their offense outside of running is terrible, Dallas. But we know their defense makes plays.
I was going to say, Dallas's offensive line is nice. I mean, and they are. Sure. And so is the 49ers. I don't know. They keep playing these highlights of what Trent Williams was doing against Micah Parsons. It looked like me fighting my 4-year-old. It was. I mean, it was bad.
I mean, that's Trent.
It's not even fair. It's Trent Williams. He's going to Hall of Fame. The defenses both stepped up. I mean, I don't know. I just think I don't think that I don't think the defenses. I think the defenses kind of canceled each other out.
Close enough. Fair enough.
All right. Last question on this game, and we're just going to do this for each team. We'll talk about why the Eagles are their matchup next week, but what do you think the 49ers need to adjust going into the game against the Eagles?
I mean, this is a whole different conversation, right? Like, you can't really compare them. The Eagles are also a very pass-heavy team. If I were San Francisco, I lean to Christian McCaffrey, not just for like his running, but more like just forcing him the ball to get them to their play action. San Francisco is very successful with the play action because they have very good talents that do yards after the catch. And so a big part of that and what they've done for the last 5 years, quite frankly, is play action offense. So I think they need to really hone in on that more. Dallas did a great job of kind of reducing that outside of Kittle, to Trey's point. But again, George Kittle's George Kittle. He's going to get 90 yards. He's going to get 100 yards in a playoff game, maybe not during the season. But I just more of the same. I just think obviously they need to convert a little more in terms of offense. But, this Philadelphia defense is also no slouch. It's going to be an interesting game. So I would just say, as a 49ers person who's watched them quite a bit, more of the same, play action, and you use your superstars to carry you because you have Brock Purdy, as we've all discussed. I don't think anyone's sitting here saying Brock Purdy's Tom Brady. So, you got to use your superstars.
He might be the Tom Brady of present. Oh, that might count as slander. I'm sorry.
Don't even. That is slanderous.
That's ridiculous. That is very slanderous.
Very much so.
Who wants it next? The question on the table, what do the 49ers need to do to be successful next week?
Keep it simple. I don't think they need to do it. Their defense is what it is. I think we all recognize their elite capabilities. I think on offense, they have the playmakers to make it tough for the Eagles, and the Eagles are going to do nothing on defense but get better. I mean, because they added some pieces in the middle of the season, some big key pieces, and the more they play together, the better they're going to get. So I think they just need to keep it simple, get their players out in space, and let them do what they get paid to do. I mean, I don't want to say it again, but if we're looking at the 49ers offense, it's way more explosively capable than I would say the Eagles offense is. I mean, if you're looking at C-Mac, Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuels, Elijah Mitchell even, and Kittle, like, you have weapons literally everywhere. Imagine if all of them were lined up. Where are you going to go? That's tough. So.
Sahe?
Yeah, I'm going to say that San Francisco they're really going to have to lean on their defense again. Lean on that defense hard. Keep it simple in the run game. Don't be afraid to punt the ball. Play the field position game, and don't let Jalen Hurts run and pass the ball. Keep them one-dimensional, and then they have a shot. And hear me out on this one. If they really want to boost their odds, the Eagles, they got a pretty formative D-line down there. They got Ndamukong Suh, Linval Joseph they signed midseason. They got, what's the boy from Georgia, the big boy, Jordan Davis down there. They've got some big guys down there on that defensive line.
Number one pass rush.
So, yeah. And they're going to be able to stuff those holes in the run game. So if the 49ers want to be able to get off in the run game a little bit, hear me out, San Francisco. John Lynch, I don't know who's in your life and who's around. If you know anybody that can bake a cake, bake a couple cakes, holler at Dr. Fauci, get some COVID and some syringes, inject the COVID into the cakes, send them on over to Philly, send them direct to their D-line, just put D-line room, have them eat the cakes, get them out with COVID, and then I feel like the 49ers will have a great shot.
Damn,
Just that easy.
Okay. All right. I just looked. We managed to get 32 minutes out of that game, so let's roll on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's get your one shot on that. What do the 49ers need to do to be successful next week? And we also got a comment from Brian. We can push on to the next game.
Yeah, definitely agree for the defense. I believe, now don't quote me on this, I believe their defense has a Pro Bowl player in each defensive line, linebacker, and secondary. I think they have at least one player, in each part of the field on defense. So they're gonna have to create turnovers, contain Hurts, and
Are you talking about the Niners?
Yeah, 49ers.
Niners have all pros, one all-pro in secondary, linebacker, and line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So and then special teams, Sahe said, don't be afraid to punt the ball. Throw the ball. 8 rows up in the stands if you have to. If you're and keep it simple. I think the defense is going to have to win the game for them, obviously. But that's a tough task when you're playing the Eagles.
Hey, we'll make our picks, later. This is a game. This is a game for sure. Defense and offense are very close.
Oh yeah.
Brian, we always appreciate you coming in the comments. Says Niners Eagles coming down to whoever's got the ball last. I like it.
That's fair too.
Very possible.
Very possible. All right, moving on over to the AFC. Richie's
AFC.
Cincinnati Bengals took on the Buffalo Bills, and they put on the show 27-10. Bengals are moving on to yet another
Eagles.
championship. I don't know.
The Cincinnati
It's that
Beagles.
The Cincinnati Beagles. It could be. It's not as fearsome as a tiger.
It's not as fearsome as a tiger.
Yeah,
That's
but
all right.
yeah. Hey, back-to-back AFC championships. What do you guys make of the Bengals-Bills matchup?
I'll start this one off. I did not see it playing out that way. Not that the Bengals aren't capable of beating the Bills that dominantly, but they're missing 3 linemen. They haven't run the ball well all year, and they ran it down the Bills' throat. That's what caught me off guard. In terms of like the Bengals' success, I expected. I did not expect Buffalo to struggle as hardly as they did on offense. I thought it would be a closer game, but I was never concerned that the Bengals would lose to the Bills. I was very confident they would have beat the Bills in the regular season, quite frankly. One, because of Von Miller. We talked about this last week with Sahe. But honestly, the way Buffalo played that game and Josh Allen played that game, I don't think Von Miller matters in that game. Now, obviously Von Miller's in and they play differently, hopefully. But just Buffalo was disappointing. I'm not really going to talk about Cincinnati much. Cincinnati did everything they needed to do. They were dominant on both sides of all 3 facets of the game. I'm disappointed in Josh Allen. I feel like his hero ball is starting to catch up to him. He is injured, so I'll give him that, but he needs to improve. It's just really that simple. You can't be talking like, and how do I want to say this? Josh Allen is a great quarterback, right? I think like we talk about the Mahomes, the Allens, and the Burrows. That's what we always talk about on the AFC side of things. And I just feel like Josh Allen doesn't have his offensive game dialed in to the same way Burrow currently does, and Mahomes has consistently been over these last few years. And Josh Allen has the same type of talent. So I'm just not thrilled by that. But this isn't on Josh Allen. This is on Buffalo and their inability to run the ball. That's what this is about. The fact that Josh Allen has to sit here game in and game out and run 8 to 10 times is pathetic. It reminds me of the Lamar Jackson thing we've talked about before, where they don't give Lamar any help. And it's like, okay, yeah, they got him Stephon Diggs, and Davis is also a great wide receiver, but it's like they need to supplement and get a running back. Anybody. It doesn't have to be a superstar. It just needs to be somebody reliable. And I think that was what disappointed me. I feel like just watching Josh Allen flail around and do his best and, not up to snuff. I'm not blaming it on Josh Allen. This whole game was not on Josh Allen. But I'm just pointing out that I know he's capable of a better game than that. And so that's what's disappointing. Seeing like he hasn't been playing great the last couple of weeks, but still. So as a Buffalo, if you're a Buffalo fan, I'm sure you're disappointed by the performance of the team across the board. And that's all I have to say about this game. I really thought this game would have been like 7-10 points, maybe, like Bengals win. I didn't anticipate from the get-go the Bengals would just kind of dominate. And again, the score, even in the first half, it didn't look like that crazy. Buffalo kind of held in until the second half. But if you really watch the game, it was never really close. It was consistently they were playing from behind. The fact that they deferred to the Bengals, like I don't like that when you see somebody play like defer, like let's just want to defer the ball. What did Joe Burrow do? Just ran right up, scored a touchdown. That you can say you get it in the second half, but now you're down 7 points, and then now you're down 14 points. And Buffalo, they try to stay competitive in the first half, but it kind of just fell apart in the second. And I don't know. I really wanted more out of Buffalo. I wanted this game to be better than this game was. That's all I got.
Yeah, based on the season, you would have thought it would have been. Trey, you want to take that next? The Bengals-Bills matchup?
I think the Bills defense just really missed Von Miller. Is what I think.
No, that's fair.
I think the whole team is Von Miller, but if we really look at it, when they started like their progressive decline is after Von Miller got hurt, like almost the very next game. If we're really looking at it, and to that deferred kickoff, I think Bill Belichick ruined it. But what people need to understand is you don't do it just to get the ball back at half. You do it if your defense can hang with the other opposing offense and you're not worried about them running up and down the field. And what I do want to give the Bengals for is I haven't really talked about the Bengals defense all year, but they are legit. Like, they are legit. They don't have like stars at any major level, but they fly to the ball. They play their position. They play outside. The DNs play outside containment. They search and destroy for the ball. Their DBs never really get beat that bad. I mean, they play solid game football, and the offense. They just had. I don't know what offensive plan they cooked up, but Joe Burrow was throwing the wide open receivers.
Yeah.
That first touchdown to Hurst at the end zone, he was wide open. I don't know if he schemed it up that way, if he hot routed him. I don't know what happened, but there was a lack of communication, and Joe Burrow was picking them apart. And it was crazy because there was snow flurries out there. And I feel like because Joe Burrow was throwing, since Josh Allen's arm is stronger, they felt like they could do the same thing, and that just wasn't the case. They kept trying to throw the ball like downfield, and they kept getting into trouble. So, and they couldn't run the ball. So it was like, what are we doing? But P-Ron and Mixon were punishing the shit out of the Buffalo defense. Like,
it was rough.
It's rough. Sahe, what did you make of the game?
Well, it's like this, right? Buffalo, the last few weeks, had a whole lot going on with the DeMar Hamlin situation. They're expending a lot of energy with the hype and the team of destiny feel. They've got all this going on. The top shooting, the Buffalo Bills had a lot on their shoulders. The city of Buffalo really thought this was their year, and they really wanted it bad. A lot of pressure. They needed a second to settle into this game. So on the other side, you got the Bengals. The Bengals, this is the game at the end of the season that got derailed because of the situation. Cincinnati Bengals felt like they could have been the number one seed in the playoffs. They felt slighted by the rules not being followed through and because of the situation. So they were ready to come in there and put a hurting. They didn't have any, they weren't feeling sorry for the Bills, not one bit. They're trying to reach their goal. They said, we're going to come in here and we're going to whoop that ass. You know what I'm saying? And then with the Bills deferring, that just played right into the Bengals' hands. They're like, we're going to go down. We had success early in the first game. They had success early in this one. The Bills got the ball. They still weren't ready. All right, we got the ball. We got all this pressure, and now we're down 7. All right. So they kind of have to force their hand, and then things don't work out. You punt the ball. The Bengals go right back down and score. And from then, it wasn't something they could recover from. It just felt just like, you thought they could, they wanted to, but just nothing went right. The Bengals are just on a tear. They're ready to. I didn't think they were going to make it this far this year. You know, being from Ohio, not being a Bengals fan, and just the history of the Bengals, you're just like, man, they got to the Super Bowl last year. They're lucky. But Joe Burrow is he's so confident in himself right now. Can't nobody tell Joe Burrow he's doing anything wrong. He's Joe Cool, January Joe, Joey Breeze. You know what I'm saying?
That's Joe Nasty right there. He's
Joe
nasty.
He got all.
That's Joe Nasty.
You know what I'm saying? He's got Jamar Chase out there. They're high flying, wheeling and dealing sons of guns over there, and that's what the league loves. You know, they love that style of play. So. This is great for the league, for one, and it's great for the city of Cincinnati. They've had a stinker for a long time. I know what it's like. You know, I always say my Buccaneers are like the Bengals of the South, you know. So it was just good. It was just good to see that win for them. So it was a good game, not what we expected, right? But I felt like the Bengals would win this game, and they did. And, so We're excited to see what they're going to do next week. Sorry, Bills.
I'm not gonna lie. I think Joe Burrow might be my favorite football player in the league right now.
Joe Burrow.
I got like a little man crush on him. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, a lot of people do. In all seriousness, he's just super confident.
He just goes out there. He's not cocky, but he's confident. He goes out there. I mean, he's throwing dots in practice, no look, spinning around. I love the swag.
Mm-hmm. It's going to come back and bite him in the ass. Watch.
No, he's tough. But he did not get touched in that game. So shouts out to the Bengals offensive line. They did their job last game, except for once. But he ran outside the pocket.
He ran out. That was his fault. Yeah.
That was his fault. So down 3 linemen, they did their job.
He's
going into a town that knows all about arrogance, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
Dang. You're lucky your wife's not here.
She's right upstairs. They know it. They know it. They don't care. They're whiny and arrogant. That's what Kansas City's all about. They're good. But AK, what did you make of the Bengals Bills matchup?
To me, it seemed like the Bengals defense just had Allen confused as hell. Like, I don't know. He just seemed kind of lost out there. The defensive line played great. I think they were running some schemes that, they didn't prepare for. And honestly, he just looked confused and didn't really know where to throw the ball or what to do. And Burrow, he's a cold dude. He is cold. Like, that he's the truth. He's he's taking over the city. That's, he made plays. Him and Jamar Chase are, they've had that connection. Nixon, Higgins, and their defense, that's a tough team to beat. And, when you got a quarterback like Burrow, they're going to be hard to stop. Unfortunately, because I'm a Steelers fan, but.
Hey, we got another one in the house. Shouts out to AK and Tony Ray, who I don't know if he's watching at home, but I miss you, Tony. We don't usually have 2 Steelers fans on the panel. Brian comes in with Allen's contract being money heavy the next few years on top of other contracts.
There are other contracts, yeah.
Yeah, I think the Super Bowl window is closing fast.
Yeah, because the Jaguars are up.
I'll leave that up.
And they're coming.
The Jets, too, if they get a quarterback.
Which the rumor is Aaron Rodgers. I mean, there's a lot of things we can talk about. This is a bigger conversation for another day because, for instance, people are arguing Cincinnati's window is only because Joe Burrow is on his rookie contract and they won't be able to keep Chase, Higgins, and Burrow. So this contract stuff is always interesting. Well, of course not.
Yeah, that's the way.
Cincinnati's historically cheap. They're not going to be able to do that.
Well, it's not even historically cheap. You can't keep 2 wide receivers at that price and a quarterback in this league. It's just not going to happen.
Mixon.
Sell the farm.
And Mixon, of course.
Yeah, but he's going to go.
But a running back is a much lower number. You know what I mean? Like it's like 12. The highest is 16 right now. So wide receivers make 30. That's why I'm saying you can't keep 2 wide receivers.
But they're all going to want to get paid.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I think they lose. They lose Mixon. Wow, Miggins. They lose. They lose Higgins and they lose Mixon.
Yeah,
contagious. I'm passing the slur.
Both of them.
I think it depends on whether they win a Super Bowl this year or not. Is going to determine a lot of money.
Yeah, no, I
for
agree.
Cincinnati.
Oh, for sure. All right,
not worth the discussion.
Before we roll around to the next game, let's get a one-shot. What does Cincinnati need to be ready for heading to face the Kansas City Chiefs?
I'll start it off with overconfidence. They've beat this Cincinnati Chiefs 3 times. They don't want to come in there overconfident. It's a new game. This is the AFC Championship, and you got Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes on that other side. So don't come in there cocky, thinking, oh, you beat them several times already. It's going to be a walk in the park.
I got nothing else to add. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I got nothing else to add. I agree. Overconfidence. They're 3-0, and I always say this all the time because the Niners with the Rams was the same thing last year. There's only so many times you can beat the same opponent over and over and over before you lose. So the biggest thing here is not getting overconfident. All 3 games were close.
Close.
I know the Chiefs like to pretend like it wasn't, but the fact is all 3 games were close. They're very close. It could have went either way. All 3 games happened to go to the Bengals. Even though Mahomes is injured, clearly you can't assume he's going to play bad, and he's going to be very injured. You have to prepare like he's not injured at all. If they don't do that, they will lose this game.
I'm gonna go in a slightly different direction. I don't think the Bengals have a problem with being overconfident. I think they've been counted out for much of the year because they struggled at the beginning of the season. Even Joe Burrow said he was like, better get those refunds ready and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they've been kind of counted out. But what I will say is these games, especially the games against Kansas City, and they probably know this better than anyone, always comes down to turnovers. Who can take care of the ball better? And Patrick Mahomes has a tendency to give it to the other team. And it usually comes down to a field goal and him giving up that there's usually not a turnover the entire game until he gives one, and then that's the deciding factor. I feel like all of their games have been decided by one turnover. So it's going to come down to turnovers. Who can take care of the ball better?
I can get it unmuted there. AK, did you want to chime in on that? What the Bengals need to do to be ready for next week?
Offensive line, got to be ready. I don't know the status of their injuries. Are all 3 of those starters, or 2 of those starters still out for that game?
Done.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Dislocated knee for one of them. Yeah, that the offensive line's got to be ready because they're pissed. The Chiefs are pissed. They're out to get blood. They're going to be coming after Burrow. That's it. Honestly, I think it'll come down to turnovers. Who makes the least amount of mistakes, and special teams.
Subsequent question, real quick before we move on. Richie, what do you do when your 2 favorite white boys are on the football field against each other? I mean, you got Travis Kelce on one side.
Why you got it? This is the problem. Not just 2 favorite white boys. These are like my 2 favorite players, man. This is painful. Now, obviously, I'm not going to root for Kelce over my Bengals, but I will say one of my favorite players is going to dominate my team like he always does. And, since that wasn't the question, because you talk about preparing, I hope what Sahe said about the COVID cake, I hope that goes to Travis Kelce's house. That's what I hope.
COVID cake.
We need help. He's going to get 150 yards. He's going to get like 2 touchdowns because they don't really have anyone else that's going to get that done. And I'm scared to watch that part of the game. Like, I wish I was a fantasy football player, like owner right now, so I could be like, trade me Travis Kelce because he's going to have like 180 yards for sure. I'm terrified. COVID cake. Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I'm worried about Patrick Mahomes because they're going to shoot the ankle up, but if he can't move, like Patrick Mahomes is. I'm not saying that he can't make the throws from the pocket, but he's way better outside of the pocket. So that's going to be something to look out for.
Yeah. Unless you make him run for his life. Tampa Bay taught the world about that. Brian says that high ankle sprain will determine the game. If he can't scramble, that's 50% of their offense. If the Bengals D-line can rush the 4 and get Mahomes, it's going to be a long night.
They don't rush 4. So what they've done is they've rushed 3 and have a spy, and Mahomes hasn't figured it out. They're not going to rush 4.
That's even worse because that goes to my point against when I thought the Jaguars were going to win. If you could rush him with just your defensive line 3 or 4 and drop everything back in coverage, and you're going to spy, I would put that spy on Travis Kelce because Mahomes' leg is shot.
Trey, it doesn't help.
He's going to have problems. It's going to be problems. I'm telling you.
You can agree on
him.
him.
Be after that too. The Bengals, obviously, they're aware of it. They're going to be, twisting, pulling, diving at his ankle. And like you brought up the shot, that's still going to hurt. Getting tangled up, rolled up, pulled on, twisted on, like.
Oh yeah, it's a high ankle sprain. He should be resting it for the next 4 weeks. Honestly, he's going to try to play the very next week.
That's what Mahomes has, a high ankle sprain?
He should be in a walk.
Yeah.
I heard it was like not a bad high ankle sprain, though. It was like
he practiced today.
Yeah. I had one in high school. I was out a long time. Those are the worst ankle
Like
sprains
it lingers. And
Yeah.
like no matter how he fit, I mean, it lingers. It's going to be sore.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, he better practice this week. He's got an AFC championship coming up. He's got to be in there. All right. We've talked a lot about Saquon Barkley and the New York Giants and how it's a team recovered. I think we've heard Coach of the Year. Is that what I've heard?
Brian Daboll, arguable,
All-
or Doug Peterson, or
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan. Those are the three in the running.
Yeah. Did not matter against the Eagles
Nope.
on Saturday.
It did not.
The Eagles 38-7. The only college football score that we've seen in the playoffs, really. Who wants to kick us off?
I'll be brief and I'll go first. I apologize to all the Giants fans last week because I got excited. I repent for my sins. The Eagles are the third most potent offense. They're third in total yards. They're number one in yards per play. They are an absolute running machine, and they ran all over New York. They didn't do much. If you look at Jalen Hurts, I mean, he played, but they ran, I think, 42 times. They almost had 40 minutes time of possession, and this is the number one in sacks with 70 for the season. This is number, I think, 3 in turnovers, right? This is an incredible rushing team that also has wide receivers that can get it done. And they have a fantastic defense, and they showed us why. They've been the number 1 seed the whole year. So,
What's the next? Giants, Eagles.
Who did
I'll
the
say
Giants? You go ahead.
I was going to say this. If the Giants defense had one weakness, because they've been, I feel like they've been really good in their pass coverage. If they had one weakness, it was running. I think they ran it 43 for 268 or something like that, something crazy like that. I mean, and whenever he needed to make a throw, he made it. I mean, I picked the Eagles to win this game. They're probably the most they're the most well-balanced team left in the playoffs, I think, from top to bottom, from quarterback play down to the defense and special teams. Just incredibly coached. I didn't expect the Giants to have a chance, really, but shots out for them. I think Daboll is probably Coach of the Year because he did have them doing things no one expected for them to do.
31-point loss. Ugh.
I mean, you ran into Jalen Hurts.
That was my dad joke. It didn't work. It hurts. You get it?
Yeah, you ran into Jalen Hurts, and I don't know what it is, but Jalen Hurts has me believing that he could do anything. Anything.
Sahe?
Yeah, I say this. The Giants beat the Seahawks last week, right? To get to this game.
Yeah.
So 2 teams that's not supposed to be in the playoffs at all. It was supposed to be the Packers versus the Eagles this week. The Giants got in there somehow. They weren't supposed to be there at all, and it showed. They're a good football team. They're coached well, disciplined team that believes anything's possible. But when you go up against a juggernaut like the Eagles right now, and you already played them twice this year, they know you like the back of their hand. There's not anything you can pull on them, surprise them with. Danny Dimes played last week like it was the Super Bowl running all those times, right? So that's one of their ways to success, and he wasn't able to do that against the Eagles. They're too fast, too big down there, and they proved it. Had an easy win. Giants, good job this year, but we all knew they weren't going to win.
Okay, you got to take on the massacre. I mean, the game Eagles Giants.
Yes. So before the game started, I actually fell asleep. But before I was at my buddy's house, and I'm like, look, I'm tapping out. I don't even want to watch the game. Eagles are going to win 42-7. I'm going to sleep. Woke up the next day. He was like, yeah, you didn't miss shit.
Pretty close.
So I didn't even watch it. I don't know. I just knew going ahead, ahead of time. The Eagles are just a much better team than the Giants right now. The Giants have improved, but they're just lucky to be there, and the Eagles are out to win a Super Bowl. So
they are. Brian coming in. Eagles have a Super Bowl window of about 3 years as well. They've got a lot of players headed to free agency this offseason. I think they have a real sense of urgency for the postseason this year.
Yeah, that's why they brought in Ndamukong Suh and the players they brought in midseason.
Yeah,
because they wanted to make the push.
Yep. All right, guys. One shot on what the Eagles need to be prepared for going up against the 49ers next week.
They're going to have to pass the ball.
That's going to be rough.
I'm just being honest. Right. That's my point because, like, the Niners' rush defense is the number one rush defense in the league. They're going to take that away. That is the Eagles' biggest strength. So, I'm not saying this in a bad way, but Jalen Hurts will have to do – early in the year, he was throwing the ball incredibly. But that's Philadelphia's key to success. That's what they have to watch for. Because we know their defense is going to do well. Like we talked about, both these teams are incredible. But they're going to have to air it out. That's where they win. Or they completely prove me wrong and run against a team that only let 73 yards per game rushing. And the next closest was the Eagles at 120, I think. So that's what I'm saying. The discrepancy is huge there. So if they can run the ball on them, then, oh my God, I'm an idiot and I'm completely wrong. But to me, they're going to have to win with the passing game. That's my quick one shot.
So my one shot is I completely agree. They're going to have to figure out a way to pass the game. But I want to say A.J. Brown is still recovering. If I'm correctly, he got one pass attempt that he didn't catch. I think he's still hurt. I think it's his knee or something that still bothers him. I understand that Dallas Goedert is nice, and I forgot who's on the other side. I think they're going to have to try to attempt to run and work off the play action. I feel like that's their best bet, but they're down one of their biggest playmakers, so that's going to be a tough task.
The volume.
Devonta's going to have to pick it up, Heisman winner.
Yeah, absolutely. Sahe?
This game is in Philly, is it correct?
It is in Philly.
This game is in Philly. That Phillies crowd is going to be rocking. They need the crowd to get all kinds into Brock Purdy's head, okay? They need Brock Purdy shaking in his boots. I feel like the weather is going to play a factor. So the Philadelphia Eagles put in a call to heart. Get some good weather modification going on. Get all the snow that you can get. Talk to Joe Biden, see if he could put in a good word for y'all over with them boys. With the and put some rays into the ionosphere all week, and get a lot of precipitation and make it real uncomfortable for the 49ers, because the 49ers we all feel like is a better team. So I feel like it's not like the much better team, like slightly better team. So it's going to be close. I don't know what they need to do. It's going to be so close. I feel like they're just going to have to get lucky, right? The ball bounce here, ball bounce there, a call here, call there. It's going to be one of those kind of games, I feel like.
Absolutely. AK, do you have a take on what the Eagles need to be prepared for this week?
Yeah, they're going to have to air it out. I think both teams, I think it's going to be, a lot of passing, using McCaffrey, out in the flats, screens, etc. Jalen Hurts, I think, they're going to have to air it out. I think I agree with Sahe. I think some luck's going to have to be, in some of that, in some of the game, an interception, a fumble recovery, something on special teams. But yeah, definitely have the ball out, and it's going to be close. It's going to be close.
Brian says, I just want to appreciate how good the playoffs have been this year overall, and Eagles-Niners will be just as good as the rest of the playoffs.
Playoffs ain't that good if Brady ain't in the Super Bowl, bro.
Oh, my God.
I'm like, no comment.
I was waiting for that.
You think that's a good playoffs and Brady got bounced like that? Come on, man.
I also think it's a travesty that C-Mac is not in the Pro Bowl.
Right?
Yeah, that's pretty
That
gnarly.
is crazy. He's the best running back in the league today, right now.
Brian agrees. Came in. Oh, I think he agrees with Tom Brady. He's a Tom Brady fan.
I think the Tom Brady part,
Yeah.
but
big time.
I wouldn't disagree with the McCaffrey thing either.
No. Yeah, well, he's got some other stuff to focus on right now. So, all right, last game to cover. Chiefs and Jaguars. We were split on this, if I remember correctly, when it came to picks. Chiefs came out on top 27-20. Who wants to kick us off on the recap of the Chiefs-Jags game?
I will. I'll start it off. Just so we're clear, my ticket covered on the Jaguars there. I think it was 8.5 they covered, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
Won a couple of dollars, but it wasn't the Jaguars' year this year. I fully appreciate the way that they battled. We clearly see that Trevor Lawrence is next up, or he's coming. The defense was nice. Patrick Mahomes not taking care of the football, gave the ball a couple times. But with the weapons that Patrick Mahomes has versus the weapons that the Jaguars have, I feel like it should have been more of a substantial win for them. But it goes back to my theory about Patrick Mahomes. If you can put people in coverage, he has a problem reading defenses. That's been his number one Achilles heel. So, shouts out to the Jaguars. They had a great season, but the better team won.
I mean, it was kind of what Trey said. And again, my heart was with the Jags, but I did pick the Chiefs for this game. And here's why. I just think they needed another year, right? I think this next year is Jacksonville will really be coming up. My perspective was this. Kansas City won, but I give credit to Henny, quite frankly, right? Like, what was it, 85-yard drive, something like that. Nah, he didn't do much. It was like 23 yards. But the point is this man has the best job in football. He sits on the bench, does nothing. And then once a blue moon, he has to show up, and he shows up for them every time they need him to show up. And he showed up. The only thing I'll say against them is they should definitely watch it. I don't really like Etienne's explosive, but I don't feel like the Jags are a big rushing team, and they ran all over Kansas City. So Kansas City really needs to get that in order because they're coming up against the Bengals. And if they get past the Bengals, well, then they're playing the Eagles and the Niners, who certainly like to run the ball. So that's their focal point. They need to clear that up ASAP. This is a pass rushing team. I think they were second in the league in sacks, this team, Kansas City. So that's what I would say for them. But at the end of the day, Mahomes was hurt, and they still found a way to win, which is a huge thing, and just goes to show you the resilience as a team. To Trey's point, better team won. I think, period, better team won, but they ran into a team that was on fire, and that was a hell of a game. And, again, Mahomes got hurt, and they had to fight tooth and nail to make that happen, and they did. And congratulations to them, and that goes to show you why, they've been to the championship game 4 out of the last 5 years or whatever in the AFC. So,
absolutely, Sahe.
Yeah, Trey and Richie mentioned that the better team won. I'm just going to say this: the Chiefs are the better team, but I don't feel like they played as the better team. I feel like the more experienced team won. Their experience in these kind of situations carried them through. Like Richie was saying, the Jaguars are 1 year away. They need these kind of games. They need these kind of losses. And it was great for them to keep it close out of the other, like the Giants, the teams that's not supposed to be there, the teams that's not supposed to be there. They were getting blown out. The Jags proved that they've got talent. They've got guys that can make plays. Trevor Lawrence is progressing along nicely. It's just the Kansas City Chiefs are built for these moments. They're just a more experienced team, and they got it done. But if they would have got that onside kick and maybe a score, it might be a different story. So the Jags were right there. It was that close. Good game to watch.
Yeah.
Gotta hate it when it comes down to an onside kick. I know I do in Madden because it just doesn't work. AK, what was your take on the Jags and the Chiefs?
Yeah, I agree with Sahe about, the most experienced team won that game. They've been in the playoffs for multiple years in a row, AFC championships, divisional championships. Jaguars, they're up and coming. They're right there. I thought they had, a couple of chances to even win the game. But again, that lack of experience, I think, kind of played a part in that. And, the Chiefs are after a Super Bowl too. So that's a tough team to beat, especially in the playoffs, even if, if Patrick Mahomes is hurt or not. He's a cold dude too. The Jacks had a chance to win it a couple of times, I think. But, overall, it was a good game. And I think it was better than a lot of people expected, honestly.
I'll say this side note. The Jags remind me of the Bengals last year. The only difference is that little coin flip didn't happen for them. So.
Yeah.
Brian comes in with Doug Peterson for Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
Just one or two players away from being a real problem in the AFC.
Well, I think they pick up Riddle from freaking Atlanta next year. That should be a big help.
Calvin Ridley.
Calvin Ridley.
Yeah. So we getting the Calvin Ridley next year when he gets off his suspension. So that's gonna be a real big help there.
Say Jalen Ramsey comes back home to Jacksonville.
I doubt
He's frustrated and done in LA.
It could happen.
Yeah. Those are two players right there.
I do want your guys' take on what the Chiefs need to be prepared for going up against the Bengals. But I also, as a side note, I've mentioned when I do, I don't take my takes very often. I'm the moderator. But Patrick Mahomes, Chiefs hating aside, his decisions, and Trey, I know you talked about this on the show too. Some of his game time decisions just are asking for big injuries, and now he's on one, a high ankle sprain. Regardless of the severity of that, going against the Bengals, does he need to tighten that up and take a look at some of his decision-making skills going into this one? On top of that, what do the Chiefs need to do against the Bengals, if that all made sense?
I think I know what you're saying. He definitely needs to work on his reads and make more because he has a problem. Joe Burrow does the same thing, but he makes better reads than Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion. But since he's not as mobile, he needs to learn how to make those pre-snap reads and figure out where he's going quick so he doesn't risk getting sacked and hurting that ankle even further. And he's just suck it up and stop trying to make that big explosive play. Because a lot of times if you watch Patrick Mahomes' games, when he scrambles outside, he has the play that he needs to make. It's just not down the field as much as he wants it to be. It's that cross that he needs to hit or that out route he needs to hit. Instead, he'll go outside the pocket and hit that go route that's down the field that usually you won't see quarterbacks make. But since he's so talented, he'll go ahead and make that throw instead of making the read. So if they really want to, and that also lends a hand in his turnovers because he does that and he tends to get turnovers. And like I said, these games, these Jaguars-Chiefs games usually come down to who makes the less turnover, who makes less turnovers. So.
Yeah. What's the next?
I'll take it next. This is an interesting thing. I think people always look at it the wrong way. Kansas City technically, on paper, has a better defense than the Bengals. I think their biggest thing they're going to have to focus on is they're going to have to get more, and it's ironic because I just said this about Travis Kelce. They're going to have to get more out of their other players. And I don't mean Patrick Mahomes. I mean, somebody else is going to have to step up. Travis Kelce will have a successful game, but the Kansas City Chiefs will not win throwing deep balls. They will not win off of Patrick Mahomes' those crazy little silly antics, even if he's healthy. The Bengals are a very opportunistic team. They do very well with interceptions and fumbles. They're actually very evenly distributed, and they're fifth in the league in turnovers. So this is a team you don't want to turn the ball over. As we've discussed, every game Kansas City has lost, except for the first one, was due to a turnover. So it's really Kansas City playing clean. If Kansas City doesn't turn the ball over, maybe they make it happen this time because each game has been super, super close, and it's because Kansas City had an untimely interception the last two times. So Patrick's got to protect the ball a little better, and I think if they do that, they win the game.
Yeah. This is a game where I think the Chiefs will miss Tyreek Hill with Patrick Mahomes not being able to move like he can. But this is what the Chiefs wanted to prove, that they could win in different ways. Andy Reid. This is going to be an Andy Reid game. This is how creative can Andy Reid be. This is what tricks does he have up his sleeve. Andy Reid, the great play caller. We've got to see some when they're in the huddle doing a ring around the rosy and all this other stuff. And I want to see some of that stuff in this game. And on the defensive side for Kansas City, they have to be ready from the first whistle, first snap. They can't let Cincinnati go down and score immediately. They've got to put some doubt in them. One of the games, the Buccaneers, they were up 17-3 on the Bengals at halftime. The Bengals did come back because Buccaneers is trash, but the Chiefs aren't trash team. So if they could get up like to a lead 17-3 and maybe some doubt creeps in on Cincinnati, I think that'll be beneficial for the Chiefs,
I'll be honest with you. I don't think doubt plays a role when it comes to Joe Burrow.
Yeah, true.
Or this Bengals team that came back 24 points.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it's Jamar Chase is feeling himself. T. Higgins is feeling himself. Hurst is feeling himself. Joe Burrow is he's been doubted since Ohio State. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's not forget Joe Burrow. No one was talking about Joe Burrow until his last year at LSU. Honestly, and from then on, he's been doing nothing but prove people wrong. They said his hands are too small. Okay, that didn't stop him from throwing perfect spirals 50 yards down the field, dropping the bucket. So I don't think that doubt ever plays a role. They have an uncanny belief in themselves, which has allowed them to brush past the negative play that they've had this year and get to this point, including last year, because they started off rocky last year too.
They did. I didn't think.
And if you can and if you can get hit in the mouth as much as Joe Burrow can and keep getting up, you made them some stuff.
He says, "I want more."
Bro, Joe Burrow's the Undertaker. He just sits up every time, man.
I'm gonna have one of you guys read Brian's comment here, just because I live in Kansas City, and I think not just my wife, but some other people might be able to hear me, and they don't want to hear this.
I'll read it. The Chiefs lose their left tackle to free agency, and that will greatly hamper their offense next year. They also have several players coming up for contract paydays. Their Super Bowl window is also coming to a close unless Mahomes restructures again.
I mean,
Mahomes has a pretty friendly deal.
He has a very friendly deal.
I don't know what else he could do.
He's only he's making $47 million this next year, or $49 million, or something like that. It's a very team friendly deal. He's not even gonna I don't think he's the highest paid quarterback in the league.
He's not.
I think he's like the third.
He was when it happened, though. He broke.
He's third. He's the third highest quarterback in the league, but he's the number one quarterback in the league. So I think it's a pretty team friendly deal.
Yeah, I feel like the Chiefs will always be relevant with Patrick Mahomes as long as he could do the things that he does. He's scrambling, running to the line, and then he flicks the ball right into his receiver's hands. He does things other quarterbacks aren't doing and aren't capable of doing. So as long as he's able to do that, they're going to be a force.
I mean, then the question becomes, how long can he do that? And I think that was my point before. How long can you run for your life and make a play out of nothing with the growing athleticism that's in the NFL? I mean,
I give him about 4 or 5.
Well, with his contract, he'll be able to, with his contract, they'll be able to get the players to protect him. Honestly, he's outplaying his contract right now, but in 2 years, it's going to be embarrassing how much he can outplay his contract. And with that deal, he might as well be on a semi-rookie deal where they can get whatever. They have a grocery cart full of groceries, and all the money in the world to spend on them because they don't have to pay their quarterback.
I got to call out Brian here. Brian says Brady averaged around 25 a year on his contract, much more team friendly, which is true. But that's because his wife was making $5 million a year, and they didn't need the money, Brian.
He was making $50 million, and the average
Patrick's got to pay for
salary
Jackson,
cap
man.
was way lower back then.
He's got to bail Jackson out of jail every 2 months or whatever.
I agree with Brian. You're correct, but you being a Patriots fan, were very spoiled by a quarterback who was willing to do that. You know, and you can't expect, again, as a fan, I want Joe Burrow to make every penny he wants. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to Burrow take 52. Bro, if you want 70, you take 70. Make the team figure it out. That's how I feel.
But
I don't
honestly,
want him to settle at all.
Yeah. But honestly, Patrick Mahomes is giving them the Tom Brady treatment by taking the deal that he took.
Yeah,
we got to understand the salary cap's also exponentially grown since Tom Brady was taking his $25 million a year deals.
Now remember, he's third right now. Every year he's going to drop, not go up.
Absolutely.
Go
That's what I said. In 2 years, the way he's going to outplay his contract is going to be criminal.
Oh, it is going to be criminal. I agree. It's like the Steph Curry when he was in like 2013 to 2017. Absolutely criminal what he was making. Yeah. It's the same concept.
And they're going to be able to play other people. They're going to be able to get someone on that line. They're going to be able to get more weapons. And he's still going to be throwing for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Well, the time has come. We got to make a choice.
Picks?
Got 2 picks to make. They're important because they're for the championships, fellas. First off, let's go with the 49ers and Eagles. Eagles. I just can't talk. Eagles, Beagles. We got all kinds of new teams. Eagles and 49ers. Who you got?
I'll start it off. Oh, never mind. He-Man started off with 49ers. What's going on? Why do you think that?
I just think they're just going to be able to get it done with that running game. They're going to be able to swallow the Eagles defense on. They're going to be able to swallow the Eagles on defense. So I feel like the 49ers get it done. 24-14.
Wow, he's going with numbers too. I respect it. I'm not doing numbers.
I always do the score.
I appreciate that. I'm not doing that. Here's what I'll say. I'm a homer right now because I want a Bengals Niners Super Bowl rematch. But I also believe the Niners are just smidgiest, have a better advantage in this matchup. Like we discussed, what's his face? Oh my gosh, I feel like a dumbass. Their wide receivers injured on the Eagles, so the fact
AJ Brown.
Thank you, AJ Brown, who's incredible. This dude can feast on anybody. And so since AJ's a little injured, and that's what they need, that passing attack like I was talking about earlier, I just don't see how they win running. And I will be gladly proven wrong if they find a way to run the ball. You know, I love this Eagles team. All year I've defended them. Everyone's talking about their schedule was so easy. I was like, no, they're just an amazing team. They're a great team. So are the Niners. And I just feel like, and again, Brock Purdy is not better. But I just feel like the Niners defense will make more plays, just like with Dallas, where they're both good. But I think the Niners will come up with more turnovers than the Eagles in this game. They're the number 1 turnover team in the league. And I believe they find that happen. I think the Eagles are going to run the ball a little too often and try to do their game against this defense. And I think there'll be a fumble or two early in the game. And I think that's what's going to be the difference. I believe the Niners will not turn the ball over. I think Brock Purdy's – this is going to be like the Ravens where Dilfer just basically handed the ball off. I believe this is going to be very conservative gameplay. I don't think they're going to try to air it out. The Eagles' defense is great against the pass. They are not good against the run. And that's what the Niners like to do. I believe they're going to do play actions and they're going to do conservative 5-10 yard routes. And I think they'll play conservatively and win this game.
Trent?
I'm going to go with the 49ers. I was listening to something today. I don't know what I was watching, but I think what Steve Smith was saying, why was Brock Purdy Mr. Irrelevant? It's because scouts were being lazy and they saw all the things that they didn't like about him and they used it against him in the draft. So he came last pick of the draft. They did the same thing with Jalen Hurts, kind of. That's why he went where he went. But I feel like we're saying that Jalen Hurts is better because of he has more of a body of work. We don't necessarily know. If Brock Purdy never takes a dive from here and continues to ascend, we might be having a different conversation. The only reason that I would take the Eagles over the 49ers is because of the quarterback play. But just like Richie was saying and I was saying earlier, they don't have A.J. Brown. That's a very key. He helps Dante Smith and he helps Dallas Goedert. And he helps that running game. So to not have him be at 100% is crazy. And the 49ers, their only offensive problem is the fact that they have Brock Purdy as their quarterback. And that offense moves better with Brock Purdy statistically. He moves it better than Garoppolo, and he moves it better than Trey Lance. And they have Kyle Shanahan at their quarterback. So it really only comes down to the defense, and I say the 49ers defense is better.
Okay. That's a clean sweep from the cast. AK, did AK want to make a prediction? I saw he came back.
Yeah, I got the Eagles 28-21.
Okay.
I got Purdy throwing 2 interceptions, 1 pick six. And yeah, it's going to come down. You know, I think Purdy's good. You know, I'm not saying he's trash, but you know, rookie coming in, will start on the depth chart, which might be irrelevant. You know, he is a great player, and I agree. I think he moves the ball, you know, up and down the field better than Garoppolo or Lance. But AFC or NFC championship, I think he's going to throw 2 picks and 28-21.
What makes you think he's going to throw 2 picks? Because he hasn't been throwing picks.
Right.
I don't think he has a pick.
He hasn't thrown a pick yet.
Yeah,
he hasn't thrown a pick yet.
Yeah, not yet.
First time
played
forever.
against. Okay, but hear me out. He just played against a top 5 defense and the second overall turnover differential defense in the league, and he didn't throw a pick then either.
I know.
So that the test for him can't get much harder.
Right. I agree. I still think he's going to throw 2 picks.
Hey, man, he's calling it, you know?
I'm just asking.
We got somebody.
Miss Cleo also did this, you know?
Yeah.
Somebody, hey, AK, it's you and Kevin Hart sticking up for the Eagles just because Brian comes in, same score, other side. Niners win, 2-minute offense, drives down the field to win, 28-21.
So now Purdy's clutch? Yeah.
Clutch Purdy. I like it. All right, let's move over. We're running out of time here. This is the one, Bengals and the Chiefs, and they're here. I gotta hide in the basement and lock the doors. They're here at Arrowhead. Who you guys got?
I already told my hand earlier, so I'll start. I'm obviously going with the Bengals. I want a Niners-Bengals. As a homer in the Bay, I want a Niners-Bengals game. I just believe the Bengals are a better team right now. Regardless of Patrick being injured or not, I believe they're just playing better and more consistently. I think every time they've had a test, they passed it. I think that the whole season was judged on the first 3 weeks because they looked terrible. But to clarify, whole new offensive line, Burrow had appendicitis. It's like surgery. So they looked like trash. They looked awful. They looked like one of the worst teams in the league. And the conversation is the Rams or the Bengals going to have a bigger Super Bowl hangover? And everyone assumed the Rams would figure it out and the Bengals wouldn't. But the Bengals did turn it around. I believe, and the NFL.com is going a little too crazy because they ranked them number 1. I don't think that. But what I will say is I believe they're just a better team. And I think they've been close matchups every time. And even though conventionally my logic would dictate they'll lose this game because you don't win 4 in a row, I'm a homer. I got to stick with the Bengals. I'm going Bengals over the Chiefs this game.
All right. Who wants the next?
I'll take it. I feel like styles make fights. I feel like Joe Burrow is better against the Kansas City's defense than Mahomes is against Cincinnati's defense. I don't want to seem like a Pat Mahomes hater, but I just don't trust him. And I think Joe Burrow is an overall better quarterback. I feel like Pat Mahomes is just more talented, and he's going to throw the ball. He's going to give Cincinnati the ball, or they're going to take it away. And that's what, like I said, the game's going to come down to turnovers, and Cincinnati's just not going to turn the ball over against Kansas City as much as Kansas City's going to turn the ball against Cincinnati.
All right, and speaking of the swag and fight, we'll talk about this once the season's over. But Travis Kelce calling for a rule change. He wants one fight allowed per game.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
You know, that sounds like a white boy thing. I'm just saying.
Don't tell Myles Garrett that. That's not, just don't give the memo to Myles Garrett, because everybody knows.
Bruh.
Mason, you better just retire. All right, Sahe, who you got?
In this game, we got the Bengals. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs, simply because the O-line of the Bengals faced a lot of injury. They did look good last week, but Chris Jones is a monster of a dude, and he's going to come ready. And I think a strip sack, Joe Burrow's going to feel the pressure. I see a fumble in the pocket in a critical moment. The Chiefs get it, and they roll on the victory from that point on. So I feel like it might be a situation like that. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals won. I feel like the Bengals are the team to beat in this one. They should be the favorite, but I feel like the Chiefs can get it done, being the fact that they have lost all those other times in those close games. The die has to fall on the Chiefs eventually, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're 2-1 main cast. AK, who you got?
I got Chiefs 24-21. Go Steelers.
Man, yeah.
I think
As the Steelers fan myself, you just haven't lived in Kansas City long enough. I've grown to respect and miss the Bengals a little bit. I used to hate them too, but man, God, these guys. All right. So we are 2-2 across the board, and the tie is broken. Brian says Bengals are going to get this win. 2 Chiefs turnovers, including a pick six or a fumble recovery for a touchdown. End of the score will be 31-24 Bengals.
Oh,
all right, folks, let us know what you think in the comments about anything we talked about today. We greatly value your opinion. We want to thank AK for joining us today, as well as Brian, as always, in the comments. Check out Free Mess on Fridays. I'm going to start the pitch with this. We got 3 of them in the house right now. It's just a couple of days away. You don't have shit else to do. I mean, maybe you have a job and a family to take care of, but you can make the time to listen to one of the best podcasts on the air. Go check out Free Mess on Fridays. Big news for True Crime for the Innocent Mind. Season 2 is going to be all live. That's right. We are going to have live commentary on the crimes that we're covering, bigger and better crimes, including the man, the myth, the legend, the asshole, Ted Bundy. So check out
better crimes. Dang.
Yeah, I mean, better in the case of you're a nerd.
No, it's too late. You said it. Better.
Objectively
better.
More skilled. For context, we study these people so that we can prove to the world there are no monsters under the bed. There's just a bunch of assholes out there that do shitty things. So check out True Crime for the Innocent Mind. All of the first season of Actors Breakdown is available, as well as the Boss Dog Show. Actors Breakdown coming up with a more intensive second season. So be ready for that. All of this can be found. You might be saying, Justin, you didn't say any links here. It's because we're all on our home base finally, www.h2gradio.com. Don't miss it. I mean, all of these beautiful shows, all of these new shows coming up, available at one link, h2gradio.com. If you want to get involved, whether you want to be a host, you got an idea for a show, you want to produce, you want to edit, you just want to give me shit because I'm good at taking it. Get onto the website.
Whoa, crazy.
We have a whole page for it.
Crazy.
You can let us know And yeah, live, laugh, love like it's your last. Stay classy, you fuckers, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
And
Hey,
try
thanks
not to
for having
take it
me.
too hard. Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
I said take shit. Take it shit. All right.
Y'all some damn fools, bro.